Let go and move on. It's not your fault that the relationship failed. At some point in our lives, it is inevitable that we will end up in a relationship that didn't work out. Although at the time it doesn't feel like it, you are not alone and will meet people who understand what you are going through. Here in this video, I'm going to encourage you to stop with the blame game and to trust God for finding someone better for you. People often play the relationship blame game after a relationship fails. In this game, one person assumes all of the responsibility for the dissolution of the relationship, and the other person takes on all the blame. This doesn't have to be the case, however. The blaming game can actually do more harm than good. Here's why. First, it makes you feel like you're alone in your struggles. When your relationship fails, it's natural to feel alone and lost. To cope with this pain, it can be helpful to focus on your own mistakes. But if you constantly hear yourself being blamed for the breakup, it can feel even harder to move on. It's important to remember that you aren't alone in this experience. Many couples struggle with broken relationships, but blaming yourself only makes things worse. The truth is, there are many factors that led to the end of your relationship. You can't control everything that happened, but that doesn't mean you're responsible for the breakup. Blaming yourself won't make the pain go away. You need to understand that any pain you feel after a relationship ends is inevitable. Trying to cope by focusing on your own mistakes only makes this pain worse. Instead, it's important to accept that your relationship didn't work out and move on. Secondly, the blame game will do you more harm than good as it cuts you off from potential help. When one partner assumes all the blame, they may end up shutting down completely when it comes to continuing their relationship journey. This can leave both parties feeling isolated and discouraged. If you want to try and fix your broken relationship, you'll need to open up to someone. Somebody who isn't going to put all the blame on you. If you're finding yourself trying to shoulder all the blame in your broken relationship, it's time to stop. It's not your fault, and shutting down won't help anything. In fact, it can do more harm than good because you'll be less likely to get help when you need it. Opening up to someone who isn't going to put all the blame on you is the best way to move forward. The blame game is a toxic way of coping with relationship failure. The best thing you can do for yourself is start by recognizing when the blame game is starting and working to change the dynamic. By recognizing that the blame game won't help you in your relationship, you'll be able to start moving forward. The blame game shuts down communication, and fear of rejection can prevent you from ever fixing your relationship. The key is to be open to trying new things and seeking outside help so that you can have a successful relationship again. Stop the blame game. It's not your fault that the relationship ended. Relationships can be a roller coaster ride, and they often don't work out because of different personalities or expectations. Blaming yourself for the failure of a relationship is only going to make things worse. Your emotions are going to be all over the place, and you're not going to be able to move on. There are some things that you can do to help prevent a failed relationship from ruining your life. First, try to understand why your partner might have ended the relationship. Sometimes their reasons are legitimate, and other times they're not. Then, focus on your own needs rather than expecting your partner to change overnight. Also, don't beat yourself up when the relationship ends. It wasn't your fault, and there's no need to suffer in silence. We've all been there. Our significant other breaks up with us, and we're filled with emotion. We want to know why it happened, who did what wrong, and what could have been done to save the relationship. And although it may seem like the most logical thing to do, it's actually not your fault when the relationship doesn't work out. You must understand that relationships are complicated. No two people are ever going to be exactly the same, so expecting them to be is asking a lot. If you can learn to accept that things will never be perfect between you two, you can move on with your life without feeling like you were somehow sabotaged. So that's why blaming yourself only makes you feel worse. It takes away your peace and pours guilt onto yourself instead of taking any action towards fixing the problem. Letting go of the blame only means that you can focus on healing yourself and moving on. Don't worry, God will help you. Stop the blame game. It's not your fault when the relationship didn't work out. You did everything that you could, and there were just some things that you couldn't control. Now it's time to move on. When you're struggling with the process of letting go of a relationship that didn't work out, it can feel like every ounce of energy is just focused on holding on to what isn't working. You might convince yourself that it was your fault, or that there was something inherently wrong with your partner. But the truth is, these types of breakups happen for a reason, and blaming yourself won't make anything better. In fact, it could make things a lot worse. Let go and move on. It's not your fault that the relationship failed. It can be incredibly hard to let go of a relationship that's gone wrong. You may feel like it's your fault, even if you know it's not. There is no shame in admitting that a relationship isn't working and that you need to move on. In fact, letting go is often the best way to heal from a failed relationship and find happiness again. If you're feeling like it's your fault that your relationship failed, take a step back and look at the big picture. The fact is, sometimes relationships just don't work out. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you did anything wrong. It simply means that two people are incompatible and aren't compatible in general. Sometimes the end comes suddenly, other times it builds over time until it explodes into something toxic. No matter what happened, there's no point in dwelling on the past. Now is the time to move on and start fresh. Here are 5 tips to help you do just that. Number 1, talk to someone who will listen. Whether it's a friend, family member, or therapist, talking about your feelings will help calm and help you contextualize the situation. Talking through your thoughts and feelings can also help you work out why things ended and what you can do moving forward. Number 2, allow yourself time to grieve. It may be hard to get past the heartache of a breakup, but it's important to allow yourself time to process the loss. Crying onto your pillow for hours on end won't do anything but make things harder. Take it easy on yourself and give yourself time to heal emotionally. Number 3, believe that you deserve better and start looking for the option. One of the hardest parts about a broken heart is believing that you are not entitled to feeling good again after you've been through so much. Yet it's important to find someone who will love you and make you feel what you need. You may have burned a few bridges from this experience, but this is a necessary step if you want to move forward into a plentiful and happy future. Take time now to have some self-care and seek out help when necessary so that when your new boy or girlfriend comes along, they won't have to go through all of the gutting you had to endure before them. Number 4, let go of guilt. If you're feeling guilty about why your relationship ended, think about how ridiculous that is. Relationships don't work out for a variety of reasons, and nobody is at fault, except for the couple themselves if they can't see past their own petty differences. If you're feeling guilty, it will only make things harder and prolong the grieving process. Stay blessed.